Estonia, much like a lot of the Eastern European countries, has had a largely unrecognized tough time, not only in its recent history,
With all the communism and stuff.
but also all the way back to its ancient history. So, how did Estonia come to be Estonia? That is what we'll be talking about in this first episode of a multi-part series on this channel. My name is Patrick, along with Airan, and welcome to Stuff. As the resident Estonian among us, Airan, how far back do you want to start?
Okay, so let's start it out. mm, 13,000 years ekar, which stands for enne Kristust, which is Estonian for before Christ. There was a lot of ice. Okay, so let's skip 2,000 years. That's when the ice melted, but there's still no people. So finally, after 1 or 2,000 years of waiting, the land of Estonia and Finland get settled by settlers from the Ural tribes. 9,000 Ekar to until 5,000 Ekar was known as the Old Stone Age. The people in that time period used very basic tools in their everyday lives. It wasn't until the Young Stone Age that spanned from 5,000 Ekar to 1,800 Ekar when the people started using tools and ceramics from the pit-comb ware culture and the corded ware culture. Their lives generally stayed the same, but that all changed when,
The Fire Nation attacked.
no, you anime trash, they discovered bronze.
This Bronze Age started sometime around 1800 EKR and is divided into the Old and Young Bronze Ages. The Old Bronze Age lasted from 1800 to 1100 EKR. In this period, the tools and wares were the same as the wares that were used in the Young Stone Age. The only difference was that they started using some bronze tools as well. The Young Bronze Age lasted from 1100 to 500 EKR, and this was when the life of people who lived in Estonia changed significantly, because the people started settling down and making settlements, and they started to farm crops and breed livestock. Changes also took place in burials. New stone cist graves and cremation burials became more common.
I'm just gonna say it. There were four Iron Ages, which lasted from the ages of 500 Ekar until the 13th century Bekar, the equivalent of 80 in English. The first of the Iron Ages was the Old Iron Age, which lasted from 500 Ekar until 450 Bekar. In the first half of the Old Iron Age, the distribution of iron was still quite low. Many tools and other wares were often still made of stone. But during the second half of the Old Iron Age, the Roman Iron Age, trade relations with the western region of Estonia became much more lively, including the arrival of large numbers of objects from the Roman Empire in Estonia. Also, more and more people started manufacturing iron items using the local iron from the marshes. By the way, they also made up new burial ceremonies. They seemed to do that a lot. Uh, the most used burial ceremony at that point was the Tarent Kalme burial ceremony.
The Middle Iron Age, from 450 to 800 PKR, is the Iron Age we have the least amount of information about. However, what we do know is that relations with the neighbouring countries weakened and the burial ceremony of
Tarent Kalme,
almost stopped being used entirely. Instead, they started burying people into,
Kivivare Kalmetesse.
and this period of time is also divided into two halves: the people's migration from 450 to 650 PKR, and the pre-Viking Age from 650 to 800 PKR. Now let's talk about these very interesting periods of time in Estonian history. The Young Iron Age, which coincides with the Viking Age, and the Late Iron Age from 800 to the 13th century PKR. This was the best time period for ancient Estonia.
First of all, we haven't talked about this, but at this point, Estonia wasn't one big unified country. More like 13 maakonnad.
which we will call tribes so that you can understand and I can say it. It's like all the Mongol tribes before they got unified by Temujin. They may have been neighbors, but that doesn't mean they had conflicts with each other.
The opposite, actually. They were very friendly and helped each other.
Of course, as with all people groups, they had friendly rivalries and such, but in the end they were family. The 13 tribes were
Rebala, Harju, Virumaa, Järva, Alemõisa, Nurmekund, Mõhu, Paiga, Jõgentagana, Ugandi, Sakala, Läänemaa, and Saaremaa. Sometimes all the kings and elders got together in Raiküla to talk about problems and worries that faced.
Unlike in their neighbouring countries, women were treated as equals, unless of course they were slaves, and women could get high in the social hierarchy.
At this point, Christianity hasn't made it into Estonia. They believed in forest spirits and that every tree and rock has a soul, but they did have a godlike spirit like Dada. They would often sacrifice primarily animals, although not always animals.
In this period, Estonia started doing more trading with the Nordic and Russo people, as they were in the perfect locating for trading, right in the crossroads of Scandinavia and the Russo tribes. A lot of things made it into Estonia, but also a lot went out. For example, furs, skins, slaves, and lots of Estonian jewelry, which has been found all over Scandinavia.
Fun fact, the Estonians used silver as payment. Not coins like other countries. They used silver bracelets that they wore as payment. They would cut pieces out of it and trade it.
So far we've been talking about all these nice things like equality, trade and peace between the Estonian tribes. But it's time to talk about what bad things the Estonian Vikings did.
If you notice, the word slave has been dropped a few times.
Well, you don't just find random slaves lying about, do you?
No, you get them by pillaging, and that's exactly what Estonians did. Nobody was safe on the Baltic Sea from the Estonian wrath.
They would pillage towns and rape people, and whoever managed to live would be taken into slavery.
Estonian Vikings once even took a young Olav Tryggvason, the future king of Norway, as a slave. But the most insane thing that the Estonian Vikings did was the pillaging of Sigtuna, then the capital of Sweden, in 1187.
The riches they got from their pillaging and plundering would be brought back home or would be hidden on the island of Gotland. The only real threat that really faced them were land invasions, and for the most part they successfully defended themselves from invading forces since they had built up many powerful fortresses.
But all of that changed when
The Fire Nation attacked.
No, when the Teutonic Order attacked along with the Livonian Brothers of the Sword, who were later absorbed by the Teutonic Order in 1237, and the Danes as well, which we will cover more in the next episode.
We've only covered from 13,000 EKR to the 13th century PKR, and there is still so much more to talk about. If you're looking forward to the next episode in this series, do leave a like on this video and comment what you liked and what you didn't like. If you're looking forward to it so much that you want to subscribe, go ahead, do it. It'll make me feel much better about myself. And don't forget to turn the bell icon on so you don't actually miss it. So until the next time, have fun and we'll see you later.
The enemy army runs. We must pursue and hunt them down.